Did you mute me again? Or can you just not hear me, period? Oh, hey, now I can hear me. I got two of you. Also, I have an open mic. Skype's. I think I Skype. Not double, but I can still hear something. It's not seeming to go into stream, though. I can't hear you if you're saying anything. You're not queuing up. I can.
All right. Yep. Okay. Cool. Can you say something for me now?
I can try saying something for you right now.
That works.
Oh, that's good.
I'll mute you for a second.
Damn it.
Get in touch with your wizard.
All right. Well, stream her to that, but that works too. Everything's working now. Don't know why, but yeah. As long as you can. Can you still hear me? Did you say yes without queuing up, or?
I said yes, and I was queued up. You muted me.
Because I fucking muted you.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Except you couldn't hear me because I was muted.
Fucking classy podcast. All right, good. That means everything's working, and you should be recording now. Can you say something so I can see you're recording?
I'm saying something so you can see that I'm recording.
Yeah, we'll do one of these.
Get in touch with your wizard.
All right, beautiful. Everything's working. What? This might be two of us tonight. What? Should get a sad violin. I didn't have time to cut out that song by us, like the little intro part where it's like the roundabout intro, like do 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 do. So every time we say bad joke.
Wow, there's a lot of people who are active on the Crucible chat. You're about to mention 40 plus people. Are you sure? Yeah.
Yeah. We're live. Get in there. Should have got cold brew.
What do you have?
It's at the gas station, and I got a frappuccino, and I should have grabbed the cold brew stuff instead because it's probably better. It's like,
yeah,
overly sweet. Old man flat is just like, it's too sweet, too much sugar. I want the taste of bitter coffee. Is Klaus playing Fortnite?
Is that what that was?
Has to be it. Did he give in to the masses of people on the internet?
Is that a Fortnite though?
It's gonna PV. Well, it depends.
I saw a little bit of it, and all I could think of was like Tribes. Tribes 2 was like amazing. I love that game. I think that's what it was.
I had to go look up Tribes. It's been a while.
Yeah, it was Tribes 2. You could build shit in it, and you could go around and fly, and you could shoot people. Like it was a PvP game. You were shooting people, team versus team, and you could build stuff.
Yeah, it's a little like that. You can't fly though. But yeah, it's a little like
that. This one you had a jetpack, and that made it best.
I just saw one the other day called like something like Battleground Fantasy or something, like something battle royale, like Fantasy Royale Battle or some bullshit where it's all like set in a fantasy setting. So there's classes. So like, just like, this looks like Fortnite, but with like daggers and spells. But I'm like, shit, they're spells though, because instantly made it more interesting to me.
All right, we should probably push this live.
Yeah, that sounds right. Click. Boop. Today is June 8th, 2018. This is episode 84 of Maelstrom Radio.
Maelstrom Radio. With your hosts, Flatus and Shinder.
And welcome everybody to Maelstrom Radio. My name is Flatus. With me, as always, this host is, the cream in between an Oreo. It's Shin. Your camera's so blurry.
I don't know what happened. I thought it was good.
Go home, camera.
It looks good on my screen.
Go home, camera. Camera's drunk.
Oh, it's because I reset it, yeah.
Camera's drunk.
I mean,
what's going on?
It's Friday. Friday's great.
It is great. Have beer.
Me too. I don't have a new one though. It's still old ones.
Mine says your daily rendezvous in paradise awaits with the sunny tropical escape. Aloha. But it's made in Boston.
Pineapple?
Yeah, it's the UFO pineapple, luscious Hefeweizen burst with tropical flavor. It's really good. Smells like pineapple. Just a moment of silence while we both drink beer at the same time.
Moment of silence.
As you do.
All right, so I went through it and I have a lot of news here, so I will jump into it.
Sure.
In an attempt to get through it all fast so we can actually get into content. So right off the bat, Final Fantasy XIV news. Patch 4.31 is live. Ultima Weapon Ultimate is now fully operational. There are a lot of streamers going and attempting that right now. Sounds pretty interesting. Haven't actually seen the fight yet, but it sounds like it's a lot of fun and a lot of people are very impressed with it. Square Enix is also hitting up E3, which if you weren't aware, as you've been living under a box for the last few months, is happening next week. Square is doing 2 presentations during E3 this year. One is their showcase on Monday, June 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, or at 5 p.m. GMT. There's also a letter from the producer live that's going to happen the following day on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, or 6 p.m. GMT. For those who are at E3, there will be, of course, the Battle Challenge. You will have a chance of winning a classic I Beat shirt. You do not, unfortunately, get one for Tsukuyomi, but that is who you will be fighting. Other fun things that they've done this week, the Break It Rain campaign is back. Don't forget to do those quests, get some MGP, maybe get a bunny suit. The Eureka emote from last year is on the Mog Station for $2, so you can go and tell all of your friends you've actually got an idea now. On top of that, there is, if you're in the EU region, then there is a glamour extravaganza contest going on right now. Who doesn't love a little bit of glamorousness? To celebrate the Make It Rain campaign, the EU community team is challenging you to show off your greatest, flashiest, and most extravaganza glamour you can think of. Yeah. As well, based on all of the overwhelming feedback that the Final Fantasy XIV dev team has received, they have decided to roll back the change on Alliance raids. You will now be able to need on loot again. You do not have to only greed, so that should be coming in a future patch. And finally, next weekend, the next Friday and Saturday actually is the Eorzean Symphony taking place in Los Angeles. If you haven't got tickets and you're interested, you should definitely go and do that, like me. And if you have got tickets, hopefully I will see you there. And if you are unable to, or if you are just interested, US Gamer and WWG both sat down with Soken last week to talk about his experiences with both the concerts and his work on Final Fantasy XIV. So check out the Lodestone for the links to those.
Sweet mercy.
I'm taking a break for a drink, and because safe.
I will touch on the points that you should watch some of the fight. I have to say, like, watching that a little bit, I was like, I kind of want to run it.
You always want to run it until you actually start running it, and then you go, oh, that's why I don't do this content.
No, well, that's not necessarily true. I was having fun with Binding Coil Synced. I had no issues with Binding Coil Synced. I was having a blast.
Binding Coil Synced was fun until we got nailed.
To be fair, though, I had issues with certain people in that group.
That's completely fair, but that's 99% of the problems with rating.
Well,
you have to put up with other people.
No, it wasn't like an issue with like the people's personalities. It was just you and I could see the problem, and we both were like, "This is the problem."
That's what I mean. It wasn't a personality thing. You have to deal with other people, and there are limitations as to what other people can do. And unless you can get a group that is all on the same page, which is a very difficult thing to do, it's hard.
People, bastards, all. No, yes. I should pull that clip.
On Blurry World.
What?
How much have you been drinking? There you go. Your camera just went like super blur.
Did it? Oh god, it's all. I don't know what's going on.
You're good now.
Am I?
Well, you're back to normal.
Yay. It's all coming up. So while you drink, I'll go ahead and jump into the community news. The Stage Reborn has announced A Midsummer's Night Dream as their next project. If you'd like to audition, go check out their website, astagereborn.com. I'm excited for this because I love Shakespeare, so I'm down.
I've never seen A Midsummer Night's Dream, so I'm looking forward to it.
You've never? Oh, dude, so good.
I think I might have seen or read like maybe 3 or 4 Shakespeare plays.
Which one?
Romeo and Juliet, of course. Hamlet.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Hamlet. That's sometimes a tough one to get through for a lot of people. I'm
actually thinking I don't know. I don't think I've read any other ones.
What about Macbeth? Usually people read Macbeth.
Yes, I did do Macbeth.
I'm trying to think of the other one. Usually Midsummer's Night.
The other major one I know people read is The Tempest. But I haven't read
Tempest,
that one.
And Taming of the Shrew is usually one that people read. I'm that nerd.
I haven't heard that much. It's a bit.
Yeah, Twelfth Night. That's also a good one. I'm that nerd. I'm that nerd. It's okay. It's okay to be that nerd. I'm that nerd. I'm also a poet nerd.
I have nothing against Shakespeare.
I have nothing against Shakespeare either. There's people, although I mean, this is not a Shakespeare podcast, but Shakespeare goes deep. Like people believe Shakespeare didn't write any of that shit, and like it's a weird. Shakespeare's got a weird story. Anyway, Flat, it's me. We'll be streaming more often on the Maelstrom Radio channel. Make sure to subscribe and watch. Yeah, that's true. You should be doing that for a lot of reasons. One, they just announced that we are going to be able to increase the emotes we give you based on longevity of re-subbing to us. So now Shin and I are going to look into making sure that we find new emotes for you guys to get.
The longer you come, the more emotes you get.
Yeah, we can't make a Pound Town emote apparently. Can we make a Garlean tube? Can we figure out what that would look like and make that? Listen, I was trying to figure out how to make put it in your mouth an emote.
There's no way that we can make that will get accepted.
Put it in your mouth. They're gonna be like, the fuck is this? All right. After months of issues, and thank you to God, let me see the guy. He just followed us too on Twitter, and I could pull his name really quick. But thank you to why I find. I want to thank after months of issues on our previous host, we're now running on a new one. All episodes once again will be available listening to your favorite podcast app. Need to check Apple for podcasts because I didn't do it when I got home, so I need to double check to see a little something wonky with our RSS feed with Apple, but we had nothing updating on Apple's side.
Our host broke our website. We tried to fix it, and Apple decided to delist our podcast. We're going to bring it back this weekend.
It's true. And then Oni's Arcade, thank you for he's like, he thought we quit on him. Like, and if you're one of those people, we're sorry. Like, we're honestly sorry. We don't want you to think that we stopped the show for any reason. Like, we've been doing this, and it just sucks that you've not got to hear what we've put out. That means you've missed a lot of great shows with The Stage Reborn and Lucky Sparrow, and our whole month of Music May fucking didn't hit your feed, and I feel really bad about that. And our host is a dick. We got a new host though, so that'll all be fixed this weekend. And but good news, on to better news.
The site is back up, by the way. You can go and subscribe through non-Apple.
Yep.
But the Apple stuff should take a couple more days.
Mm-hmm. And on to some awesome news. Maelstrom Radio is now a Humble partner. Purchases from Humble through us will have proceeds go towards supporting Peggy Adams Animal Rescue League. Peggy Adams Animal Rescue League is a non-for-profit here in my area. My dog, Greg, goes there for shots, and they do great work. Last year alone, they helped over 45,000 dogs and cats with spaying and neutering. They have a food pantry for pets. That way people who can't afford or are going through hard times and can't afford food for their pets, they can make sure that those animals are getting fed. They do great work. They take in strays. They do trap release. I can't remember what it's called. Trap, spay, release, return, something like that. I don't know. It's like some weird like moniker, but they do that for cats here in the area to make sure that cats are being spayed and neutered, and they're really great, just phenomenal non-for-profit. And our your purchases, when you find a bundle that you like, use our link and Peggy Adams gets stuff. It's win-win for everybody really. In the end, you get video games, Peggy Adams gets money, and then Maelstrom Radio makes happy times with Humble, I guess. I don't know what that means. But so that's it. That's all I got for community news. But yet again, thank you to all of our Apple listeners for supporting us, and thank you to Oni's Arcade for pointing it out that thing was not working. So now, a couple weeks ago, I had made a post on Twitter asking what were your unpopular Final Fantasy opinions. And holy shit. Not only did people come out of the woodwork to tell us what their unpopular Final Fantasy opinions were, a lot of people came out of the woodwork. People that I don't even know who the hell we were like, I have strongly worded opinions. So I rounded those opinions up.
I'm still not sure a lot of these are unpopular.
Some of them actually are.
Some of them are definitely unpopular, but there's ones in here that are like,
Some of them by a person we may know, safe as Sephiroth. Not sure if his are unpopular opinions or just the ramblings of a madman.
There's some towards the end here that I'm not sure are so unpopular, but we should probably dig in.
Yeah. So
There's a lot here.
There is a lot here. So we'll go with Aretha Karen. Karen said Final Fantasy VII is the Ocarina of Time. This one was well worded. Final Fantasy VII is the Ocarina of Time of PlayStation 1 games. Revered in its time for its revolutionary breakthroughs in gaming technology, it no longer deserves the praise it gets, and also, like Ocarina, it is a heavily flawed game that deserves far more criticism than is being given. That's a lot of things to unpack. I mean, we're both
that
Zelda.
Is a lot.
We're both Zelda fans.
You chose us to go first.
I did, but because we were both Zelda fans. And I played 7. So how do you? I mean, you've played Ocarina, right? There's no way you have.
I haven't played 7, but I have played Ocarina of Time, and I have to disagree. I do think that it deserves the praise that it gets. Still,
yeah,
it's not a perfect game by any means. It's not even my favorite in the series, nor was it my favorite in the series before Breath of the Wild came out. But I still think it's a pretty good game.
Yeah, I mean,
even compared to a lot of games that have come out recently, it has relatively interesting gameplay. Like, yes, it's a lot shorter. It's not as deep or involved, and everyone knows the secrets because it's been out for 20 years, 30 years. But I know, sorry, that's the series. It's been out for 20 years.
But consider what Ocarina was at the time. Like, that was the first time they were like, let's bring Zelda into the 3D, right? Like, let's make it a 3D game, not a top down. To be fair, yeah, Ocarina was more linear than the previous Zelda games. Oh, no, it wasn't. It wasn't linear.
No.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
Was linear in the sense that you had to do the dungeons in a specific order. Which was more linear than the previous games. But the amount that you could do was still there. Like, there was still a lot of non-linearity in your choices of what you had.
Yeah, I mean,
so like, I agree with the fact that it was a revolutionary breakthrough. It was a huge gaming technologically. It was amazing when it came out. It was the first 3D Zelda. It was, or the first fully 3D Zelda, I should say, the first game to kind of do all that. And same with all of that era of PS1 games. My contention with this is that it's no longer that. And I can't speak for Final Fantasy VII as I haven't played it, but I think it still is worthy of praise.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to look past, like, I know a lot of people will shit on me for saying this because everybody hates when people say this about, like, Fallout or the Elder Scrolls games, like, oh, it's got bugs, but that's part of the charm. Like, all right, yeah, like, there were issues with Ocarina of Time, the same with Final Fantasy VII, it had issues, but considering that those were titles that those two companies were like, all right, we're stepping out of our comfort zone for the first time, trying to make our stories come to life, I gotta give them some fucking credit. Like, given the technology they had at their disposal, given what they could do, I mean, 7 was a feat. Like it had cutscenes, it had story, it threw, it was pushing what at the time what they could get out of the system, and they did a job. It did a great job of it. Same with Ocarina. Like, I think Ocarina is the same thing. Like, do I think that Majora's Mask compared to Ocarina was a better game? Sure, maybe. I prefer Ocarina a little more. I think I prefer Ocarina a little more because of the music. That's just me. I'm
a fan of Majora's Mask.
I know I like Majora's Mask, but I think Ocarina inches out just slightly, just because I love the music. Dude, Song of Storms. I'm like,
Song of Storms is in both.
Yeah, but
you got masks.
Yeah,
you could parade around in a duck mask and
it's
have
true.
Chickens follow you.
You're right. Well,
you could turn into a Zora.
Will also be. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love it. I love Majora's Mask because it takes place. I mean, if we're gonna go, I don't want to go too deep on fucking Majora's Mask, but it does take place in the afterlife.
We can have a whole episode around Zelda here.
Okay, it does take place in the afterlife. It's cool because it's spoopy. I like the spoopiness of it. 7, There's more about 7 in here, so we'll hop back to 7. But for right now, like as a breakthrough title, as a revolutionary thing, yes. But you can't say it no longer deserves its praise. That's like saying someone gave a speech in the past and that speech deserved praise, but now that speech doesn't deserve praise. Like that, like it's because someone gave a better speech or a better version of that speech, or they took that speech and, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do that.
It's actually, like we were talking about earlier, like Shakespeare. Shakespeare had really good plays. He's still praised for his plays. Do they compare to anything that we can put out today? Technically, no. We have much, much better technology now. Storylines, we've heard quite a few of the same storylines. We've had new storylines. We've had different ones. We've had experimental. We have a lot of really, really interesting stories come out since then. That's what, like 1600s, 1400s? Hundreds of years ago. I can't remember exactly when he was around. In any case, lots has happened since then. Like, it's one of those things you can't really compare like older art with the new art. Now, on the other hand, if you are comparing this against the direct successors to it, yes, Final Fantasy VII has nothing on the newer titles. And just like Ocarina of Time doesn't have anything on the newer titles. But that's just the nature of art and storytelling, as if it's not, like, it should be getting better over time. If it's not, the game crashes and burns and you end up with Doom.
Wait. Like the new Doom or the...
Yeah.
Or
the original one I was told was pretty good, and then they were going to release the new one, and it was going to be the best thing ever. And 20 years later, they finally released it. And it wasn't.
No, I thought Doom 2016 was good though. The new Doom was good. Like the newest Doom was good. That's actually.
No, I was thinking of the one that was before that, the one that was vaporware for like 20 years.
Oh, that Doom. Oh no, no, wait, no. You're thinking of Duke Nukem.
I'm thinking of Duke Nukem. Yes,
you're thinking of Duke Nukem.
No.
You're thinking of Duke Nukem. No, that is sad. Also, those Duke Nukem jokes don't. In this day and age, those don't work now. You can't. I don't know. That's a whole other story. That's a whole other show. Anyway,
actually, here, if you want an example of art that gets better over time, look at the Harry Potter games.
Okay, I'm with you.
Have you ever played the original, like Harry Potter, like the originals, the Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, those games? It was early 2000s. The graphics are terrible. The controls are horrid.
Mm-hmm.
The storytelling is very, very on the rails.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I haven't actually seen the later games, but I'm assuming that whatever they put out is infinitely better than what was.
Listen, the best game they ever put out was Quidditch, and that game is awesome. I wish there was another Quidditch game on PC. I'd play the shit out of it. If it had multiplayer.
I've told that the Lego games are really, really good.
I'm sure.
That just goes for all Lego games, but Harry Potter Lego is one of them.
The Lego games are great. Fucking waiting for Lego World of Warcraft. Nanimo should have died in 2.5. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion.
I think it's an unpopular opinion. I don't disagree with it.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who would have agreed with it though. I think even Emmy of all people agrees that Nanimo should have died in 2.5, and Emmy is Nanimo. So I don't know.
I do think that there are people that disagree. They like how the story came out, but yeah, I think it would have made more sense had she died. But on the other hand, like since she didn't die, we've got all this current storyline which we just couldn't have done otherwise.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, like, I know some people are probably like, man, Homegirl died, and all of a sudden they're playing through like Heaven's Word and like, Homegirl lived! They're like, oh, he got his arm cut off for no reason. Ah, damn.
I mean, like, even with the whole Nanimo thing, like, all right, she came back. That was a little bit controversial because, you know, she didn't end up dying. But then when it happened to almost every other character, it's like,
you know,
some people just need to stay dead.
It happened.
Caius lives.
Listen, I'm happy he's alive. There was no proof he died, though. There was no proof that he died.
You mean like Xenos, where he slit his throat and then he's better now?
I mean,
We
That's-
had proof he died. We even buried the body.
listen, that's our own fault. Why didn't we burn it? Like, you burn bodies. That's what you're supposed to do.
I'm pretty sure it was dead for a few days beforehand.
What? But, you know, an Asian got in there, though. He was like, blah, 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 blah. In fact, if he's gone, right? If he's... listen, I got a lot of questions about how ASEAN, like, body swaps work. Because if he was dead, then he was just a shell there. You took him out. Like, and also... All right. Maybe I got
It's
it.
the same answer as everything, though.
Garlean tubes?
No, the echo.
Oh, that's... Fucking... That fucker doesn't... He doesn't have the echo. He's got a... doobity dot here. Whatever.
No, but the ASEAN. The ASEANs have some sort of thing.
They don't... ASEANs don't have echo.
They have ASEAN powers.
They have Zodiac Echo, whatever the fuck that's called. Zecco? What? Zoids?
It's the reverse of echo.
Ocheco? Oche? Oche? Fucking Asians have Oche. Yeah.
Well then.
Yep, there it is. Thanks, fucking
Uh,
dear Anonymous.
Moving on, we had another user by the name of Mary Matsuri. I haven't really cared about any of the MSQ NPCs, and I actually do watch cutscenes. I have more feelings for Namazu than Haurchefant. My only response to this is, are you heartless?
I mean, I don't know. Have you? All right. Well, you haven't.
The Namazu are pretty awesome, but how can you not have any feeling for Haurchefant?
He can't fit into a sack. I mean, we haven't tried.
Now
either.
he can.
I can't argue that. Godly Trickery says, and I think modern fantasy setting styles like 15, 13, and 12 are trash and entirely boring. It could be done right, but it hasn't, in my opinion. Fair, I guess. I mean, that might be... That's a weird one because I know a lot of people who don't like 15, 13, and 12, and I know a lot of people who like 15, 13, and 12.
But is it because of the setting, or is it because of the game itself? Like, I know a lot of people that dislike 15, but it's because of the gameplay and the story as opposed to the actual setting.
That's a great point. I know a lot of people that don't like 13 because of the story, not the setting. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's a futuristic, like, style setting. Same with 12. Like, I know a lot of people, although 12 does take place in Italy, of all, you know, so that's dope in itself, and just Vieira.
Sorry.
But what I was gonna say is that I don't know of very many people who are like, fuck. Future?
I can definitely see this being a controversial or an unpopular opinion, just because like a lot of people do like those settings, and I don't quite agree fully with this tweet. Like, I do think that, at least for 15, I think the setting was pretty nice, and it was a very interesting take on it. But to some degree, like, I don't agree that it hasn't been done right. I think it's been done right so far, or it has been done right in many cases, but I don't think it's necessarily gone far enough. I think there's a lot of room for improvement still in these settings that a lot of fantasy settings have had years and years, or a lot of just modern settings have had years and years. But this combination of fantasy and modern setting hasn't had a lot of exploration. There hasn't been a lot of titles in it. We haven't seen a lot with it. And I think it's more of it has to have time for people to get used to it, to explore what the possibilities are and how you can kind of merge those two things together into one.
Can I ask you something, just out of curiosity? Would you place Final Fantasy 14 in that bracket because
No.
I wouldn't really, you wouldn't, even though we have like the Link Pearls, we have the Garleans with their technology and stuff like that.
I would still put Final Fantasy as a fantasy, probably a high fantasy setting. It does have a lot of that technology aspect, but a lot of it is more cyberpunk and magitech. So it's more of like magic combined with technology as opposed to actual technology. Whereas I would put something more like Final Fantasy 15, where there is a lot of modern elements like cell phones and cars and things like that. But okay, still with the fantasy elements with magic and all that sort of stuff.
Okay, I could see that. I'm just wondering, just because
we
I was
also
like,
don't see this. You don't see this a lot in TV content, like a show content either. Like there's not a lot of media that combines these two things and does it really, really well.
you're correct because oh man, Will Smith just had that movie come out on Netflix, Bright, which
Bright was honestly, like, apart from the actual movie itself, which I thought was okay, the concept of taking that high fantasy and merging it with the world, I think they did a really interesting job, and I'd like to see more world building around it because
Yep.
I think with a lot of these settings, there is a lot of potential. There's a huge potential because we haven't seen it. We've seen westerns, we've seen old like historical movies, we've seen futuristic movies, we've seen fantasy movies. The merging of these genres into a combined thing isn't something that we've seen as often. And I think when something finally pulls off a really, really well done piece of art with it, then like it'll be really well received.
oh yeah, it will be. You're absolutely right. Like I just found out. Now I may be behind the curve on this. I just found out that Pathfinder had at some point created they took their RP book and flipped it and made Starfinder, which is set in space. And I was like, I was like, and that was the first time I was like, I fucking kind of want that book. I want to fucking roll whatever characters I can roll in that thing. I was like, I saw like all the alien type creatures. I was like, I need to know what's in there.
I mean, to some degree, you get like we've had little flirts with that sort of idea. Like if you look back in, what was it, 10, 15 years ago, we had Avatar that came out, the one with the blue alien people, not the animated show that was really good. But it had the whole kind of pseudo fantasy with the space and the otherly worldly sort of thing mixed in with the highly technological, more modern, futuristic aspect, and that merged two kind of worlds: the nature and the tech. Although that's kind of been repeated quite often now as well. And the end result was it was a very nice looking movie.
We must obtain the unobtainium.
Not going to comment on the plot.
Listen, I'm just saying, like, I don't care what he says. He was like, oh, that wasn't supposed to be in the movie. I'm like, motherfucker, you're directing. How do you not know what he's saying? You cut that shit. You cut it. You knew it was in there.
Space Pocahontas.
What Space Pocahontas was also space. What's that one movie with Robin Williams and like where they're like the rainforest is getting cut down? He's like Robin Williams.
Fern Gully?
Yes, it's Space Fern Gully. Tell me it's not.
No, it wasn't Space Fern Gully because it didn't have Batty. They didn't have a Robin Williams character, and that was like the best thing.
It did have Batty. It just was the thing he connected into that flew around. It just didn't talk.
Yeah, no, it was the attitude. There wasn't a Robin Williams-esque character, and that's what made that movie. All of them.
True.
I'll send you links later, and I will not be sad if some of them get story or soundboarded.
Listen. I'm okay with that. I love Robin Williams. Listen, I'm just phonetically that's how it would sound, right? Hua.
I'm gonna let you say all of these names.
This
is great.
Ahi Tuna says 2 and 4 the after years aren't that terrible. All right. I mean, they were extras. They're like these bonus games. You don't need them. I know some people regard them as like, don't play those, like they're pointless, but you know, it's more of the world's the two, like, hey, I got more of this that I liked. So not necessarily, I'm not disagreeing with this person. It's just, this may be one of those ones where it's like, it may not be an unpopular opinion. Well, you know what? It may be, because I think a lot more people hate those two.
I haven't played either of them, so I can't give an opinion on this.
They are. It's more one of those things where it's like, if you like a world, right? Like, for example, like, let's say you like Star Wars and you're like, I'm gonna go read the Star Wars books because I want more from this universe, and I'm gonna go see the extra Star Wars movies that are not the traditional, like, the episodes. I'm gonna go see Solo and what was the other one that just came out, or that came out like a year ago, the one where the Rogue One. It's like, I'm gonna watch those because that's more in this universe, even though they might not be specifically episode 1 or 2, whatever. It's more of in that universe. The same thing, like, you're getting more of that universe. Play it. And then if not, find it on, I mean, it's on Steam, find it on sale, get it. I mean, they go on sale all the time. Get them when they're like $8 or $7, and then, you know, the problem is sometimes I think people regard them because, like, sometimes they're just like the ports from the iPhone over to PC, and that's kind of shit, and that sucks. And if that's why you don't like them, understood. I you know, I'll give you bad port. Noshpan. Listen, I'm going with Noshpan. Noshpan? Not Noshpan. Not like, listen, if I'm gonna murder your names, let me murder because it'd be funnier. I liked Hope from Final Fantasy 13. He had some great character development. Okay.
Yeah, not a game I've played, so I can't really.
I'm not a fan of 13, so sure, whatever. All right, here's one you are familiar with. Yashola should have been killed by Xenos. How do you feel about that? I don't know. I don't think that they're like, I think the whole idea is that the science died once, like killing them again seems a little on the nose right now. Still,
I'm kind of mixed about this because I don't really know if Y'shtola should have even been there in the first place. She hasn't had a strong presence in Stormblood. A lot of that was explained by her almost dying from the fight with Xenos, but she hasn't, like, she was really, really a strong voice in Heavensward, but they're almost non-existent in Stormblood.
no,
And I don't know if what she's going to do in the future. Like, she seems to be one of those characters that just kind of pops in as she's needed, which a lot of Scions tend to, but she almost dies, she gets pulled out of the Aether Stream, and now she's blind, but she can see, but she loses her life force by doing this. But, like, there's so many different things around her that I don't know what her character's really supposed to be for anymore.
I have a kind of feeling that Y'shtola is going to be there till the end, just because we know that she's on borrowed time, but they'll drag her story out long enough and bring her
She's
back.
also a fan favorite in Japan, so
oh hell yes,
they will not kill her off to keep that audience.
Yeah, there's a
just
big
like Alfie is safe because Yoshi P likes Alfie.
Yeah, and there's a big reason, like she was in Dissidia of all things. Like, they could have put Alfie in, but there's a big she's such a fan favorite that putting her in Dissidia was a no-brainer for them. So,
also, Alfie's not a fighter.
I beg to differ.
I love Alfie to bits. Alfie's not a fighter.
He's not a swimmer either.
He can swim now, though. Also, I guess he can summon meteors, so he's getting better at all of his things.
Yeah, he's getting. Listen,
Maybe.
even that. He was getting better with money because remember, Tatari said like he hasn't made any like bad expenditures in a while.
Maybe when he goes to Garlemald and tries to like talk with them, there won't be a whole nother Crystal Brave scenario.
Yeah, I'd like to see maybe in the next expansion, like everybody grew up a little bit more. Just like boop boop. Like also costume changes. Like Tara's got a costume change right now, but I think
They do a costume change every expansion.
have they though this expansion? Where was there?
Yeah,
Where was
at Heaven's Word, they all got an upgrade to the winter clothes, and in Stormblood, they've all got an upgrade to more Eastern.
Did he? I need to see someone.
Pretty sure.
Someone find me that. Anyway, Sephiroth and Kefka are overrated.
Sephiroth.
Yeah, Sephiroth.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that the H is apparent for the 14 players.
Yeah, not rocked. Not. I mean, I'll go in on this one. Do I think that these two are overrated? No, I do not. I think they're well written. I think they're really well written evil characters. Kefka is a jester gone mad who wants to see. He is essentially the Joker, right? Like he is like and to put it great, he's Dark Knight Rises Joker, or not Rises, but whatever the second movie was it Rises? No, Dark Knight Returns, Dark Knight something, The Dark Knight. He's that Joker where it's like he doesn't give a shit. Like you know, some men just want to watch the world burn. That is Kefka. He's such a well written bad guy because he's the person that's like he's well written. He like you can only say he's overrated, but Kefka wins. Like in the end, Kefka wins. Like spoiler fucking alert. But if you've never played that game, Kefka fucking wins. You know, but if you've not played it, then you know that's you go play it. You know what's up.
So I should go back to specify quick. Alfie hasn't got a new outfit in Stormblood yet. But they have done a full outfit change for the Scions every single expansion so far. They all got a refresh in Heaven's Word, and some of them have been refreshed in Stormblood.
Yeah,
Beast being the most popular example.
Yeah. As for Sephiroth, Sephiroth is also a well-written bad guy, but he's well-written in a different way. He's very much the... I know I've gone in about 7 before. 7 is really much a story of loss. Like, I don't want to go deep real quick, but 7 is about like death. Like, it is absolutely about death. And if you haven't played it, and it, like I have, like, it's one of those things like I experienced. I lost a friend around the same time 7 came out, and I used 7, and I realized what Cloud was going through was the stages of grief during that game. And it's really, if you don't know that, 7 can be portrayed as like it's a really bad written game unless you understand like he's going through the stages of grief during that game. And that's what makes, I think, Sephiroth, he's the opposite of that. Like, he's not going through grief, he wants to bring grief. Like, he wants to bring pain. Like, he's let into the pain where Cloud's trying to get over it. Like, Sephiroth wants to bring forth that grief towards everyone. So it's a well written. They're both well written characters. We'll keep moving quickly. X2 story is dumpster fire, but the dress spheres was an interesting take on class switching. All right. You know what? Unpopular opinion. Bing. I agree with that one. I agree with that one. I'm down with that one. All right, the English face. Yeah, I'm the English face. Final Fantasy IX is the best of the original PSX titles. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion. I think that's just an opinion.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people about their favorite Final Fantasy games in the series, and 9 is one of the ones that comes out on top quite often.
It does. A lot of people like 9 just because it was the one that went back to, let's say, the old school type, like, Final Fantasy, where it was like, there's a black mage and like that, you know. And people like that. You know, it's also where Canary comes from and stuff like that. So it's a fan favorite. Wimp Scott, aka Feeny, you're my friend and I love you, but my favorite character, Final Fantasy character.
I should specify, the person that she's referring to with "You're my friend" is Sephiroth.
Oh,
This is a reply to Safe as Sephiroth.
oh, this is a reply to Safe. Oh,
this is why. Yes.
all right. This is at Safe. You're my friend and I love you, but my favorite Final Fantasy character, Pinello, is the best, and I will fight you. So next week, fights. Nobody real zero. Any hope for Final Fantasy X being good died when they're with the we've known all along that this is a suicide mission, but we're too embarrassed to tell you guys.
I feel like this is major spoilers for games I've never played, and probably won't for a while.
That's the best thing I've ever heard. Final Fantasy X lost any hope of being good died with. We've all known all along that this is a suicide mission, but we're too embarrassed to tell you cutscene. I like that. That's a great response.
It's like the equivalent of playing through the whole thing, and at the very end, there's like, "Oh nope, sorry, this is just a dream."
Yes, that is exactly it. That is exactly
all
it.
right.
That is fucking to a T. To a T.
It is the worst literary device, is doing the whole thing, and then nope, sorry, it's all just a dream. We're gonna retcon that. The exception here, I want to say, is Link's Awakening, the Zelda game, because one, I love that game. It was one of my favorite Zelda games. And two, they tell you right up front that it's a dream, so it's really not a surprise by the end of it.
It's a surprise. Well, it's supposed to be. Well, just go fucking play 10. I'm gonna skip over this fucking large chunk because this person, and I'll leave it up to you, but we can go back to these because that person said he'll call in and talk about these as long as he keeps
them later.
All right,
we're pretty running close on time already.
Yeah, so I'm gonna shotgun these because these are quick. Emmy from Musecast says Gosetsu Yutsu should have died in 4.0.
I kind of agree, but then we wouldn't have gotten Tsukuyomi, and that would have made me sad. So I'm kind of glad that she survived, and I'm also glad that they're no longer here.
I'm down. Brock F. and Sampson says Final Fantasy XIV is a story attached to a pretty version, of Hungry Hungry Hippos Online.
I'm not sure where that's going. I really want to expand on that because I might agree with this, and I don't know where the controversial part is.
I'm trying to figure out where the Hungry Hungry Hippos part comes in. Like to me, Hungry Hippos is just slapping a butt.
Yeah.
Oh, I get. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. I kind of see it. I was thinking just slapping a button and just constantly getting nums. I mean,
I'd do that.
Fucking, that's what they do in zoos and shit.
If I could just sit and watch an amazing story all the time and just hit a button and get free food and drink.
That's the life. And they go on to say Tactics is the best Final Fantasy title. I don't think that's a unpopular opinion. I think a lot of people agree that Tactics is really good.
I haven't played Tactics nor most Final Fantasy games, but I have never heard someone say something bad about Tactics.
Tactics is really good. Chris Reeves 3D Final Fantasy 7 actually is every bit as great as you remembered it, and it ain't nostalgia.
We have conflicting tweets,
yeah,
which is really confusing about unpopular opinions, but
yeah,
I guess they are. Yeah,
Grimhelm Fates are
popular. Everyone loves it.
Wait, all right. Mool Go Around says Scions are good people.
That's not controversial. I think most people believe that. It's just
who's out there though?
Really hates it.
Really,
it's Paul. Paul and Chili hate the Scions.
But seriously, are they too like sitting there like I don't trust these fuckers? They're gonna turn on us. I swear, the Asians are the good guys. I swear. Grimhelm says Fates are actually really fun. They can be. They're doing.
I don't know if that's really controversial. They're fun. They're shit shows, but they can be fun.
Hey, a good shit show could always be fun.
It's kind of like
I mean, this shit show is pretty entertaining sometimes.
I was gonna say, it's kind of like the public events in Destiny. Same sort of idea, right? Or the rifts in Rift. Or the world events in Guild Wars 2 as well. Like there's public quests in EverQuest 2, and I think Warhammer had them as well. And the same the public quests in Warcraft. Like it's a shit show. That's a massive group of people. Well, not so much in Final Fantasy 14, but in these other games, there's a massive group of people that swarms into an area, does something, and leaves.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're really, really fun. Sometimes they're just terrible. Case in point, Odin.
Yeah. So we'll go back up to this person. See if he's hopping into
these ones. These ones we can probably shotgun quick. I don't think we have time to bring him on and get everything set up here. And definitely do not have time for extended discussion about this. We could always bring that to another episode if we decided.
True. All right. Well, let's see. The ideal final. He's fucking in the holding thing. I mean, I have it set up. It's really up to you. I can bring him in if he promises to make it quick.
Yeah, it's.
All right. Let's bring him in and make him promise. If he can't, we'll kick him.
12 minutes. It's the timeline.
What's up?
Hey, Jesus! All right.
I'm putting this at the beginning. We have 12 minutes, and then I'm ending the show.
Okay. So I'm just gonna tear through all my opinions really, really, really quick, right?
1 second.
Go.
For the people who have not listened to the show before or are not familiar, this is Safe as Sephiroth. Welcome.
I'm Safe as Sephiroth from the Crucible. So I have a lot of unpopular FF4 or Final Fantasy series opinions. The biggest is that Final Fantasy VII is overrated trash, and I brook no argument against that. 10-2 is an underrated great game, and everyone who says otherwise is an idiot. 13 is all right, but over time, especially the way they treated Lightning in the sequels and just the really creepy press release stuff has poisoned the well, and I can't stand it anymore. 15 is an unfinished dumpster fire, and I think it's absolutely a travesty and a fucking half crime.
One question on that one note. Ignoring the story, the plot, and the characters in 15, what do you think of the world and the setting?
What do I think of the world and setting of 15, ignoring the plot and the characters? I think that the setting is fine, and I think that making an open world was a big mistake.
Sorry, I'm thinking more of the mixture of the modern and the fantasy.
I absolutely love modern fantasy, and it makes me even more mad because I hate 15, and I don't think they're going to do the exact same thing again ever, because that's how Final Fantasy be.
Fair. Fair. All right, keep going.
Okay, side note, we really need to do a true facts about Final Fantasy with you.
Oh, yeah, we really do.
Oh, that would be great. Oh,
talk to us after the show.
Okay, sure. So, where did I leave off on this? I got so passionate. I think that 6's biggest strength is nostalgia, and that everyone who loves 6 and calls it their favorite hasn't played it in the past 10 years, and or they first played it when they were very young. I don't think that anyone who's played more Final Fantasies than 6, like any of them except for a handful, would honestly look at 6 and go, it's the greatest of all time. I think that's completely absurd. Kane Highwind is fucking awful and absolutely irredeemable as a character, and it's a shame that he's considered the archetypical Dragoon, because oh my god, Freya in 9 is the absolute best Dragoon.
Kane versus Estinian?
Estinian is worse than Kane, barely.
Alright.
And Kane Highwind is the character who was super down with killing a child until his friend wasn't down with it. A Realm Reborn was great, and I think everyone who says otherwise is an idiot. The new Dissidia could have been better if it was more true to the characters, and it's a shame it wasn't. That applies to the older ones, and the console Dissidia is especially disappointing. Final Fantasy XIV's Mog Station is reasonable sometimes, terrible sometimes, and baffling sometimes, and I think that anyone who says it's universally one of those is wrong. I would rather lose 3 fingers of my choice than be forced to spend a year playing Final Fantasy 11, nothing else. The original marketing for FF versus 13, which is what became 15, was a game that would have been massively better. Everyone's favorite Final Fantasy characters except mine are overrated. The extent to which I despise a given character is tied almost entirely to how loud their supporters are, except Kain and Estinian. The ideal FF game would play like Resonance of Fate with the equipment skill learning of 9, a modern fantasy style and aesthetic like 15, a bunch of dragoons as cool as Freya, an in-depth class system, and would be a purely single-player experience with a stellar story.
It's a lot.
Unpack that.
Fucking, he did it though.
Unpack that shit.
He did it. he gave him the 12. He did it like in 5. I'm proud of you, Safe.
I was expecting more rebuttals here.
Yeah. No, I mean, oh, for me, I mean,
Yeah, I haven't played any of these games really, so I can't.
I mean, all
I
right.
agree with the Bog Station stuff.
Oh no, this fucking that's a 3-way on the agreement thing. It is baffling, but it's a hell of a lot. It's kind of like the Lost Island, like you're trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. And there's like numbers and shit, and you're like, it's got to be important somewhere, and then like you find out that it doesn't mean anything.
One is not a prime.
They won it, yeah. Fucking one's not a prime. I mean, he's not wrong about Kain Highwind. I mean, Kain Highwind is, it's not, he's not awful. It's just he's a favorite for people. 6, like I like 6, but I also like 7. So you know, but I'm one of those weird fuckers who's like, each one of these games is its own thing. So even though it's like, it's got the same name, it's not a, it's kind of like every Zelda game isn't like, yeah, although they're all, that's hard because every Zelda game is technically connected because they released that fucking book and said, look, they're all sequels.
I'm actually really disappointed. I think if we could get a Final Fantasy style game in a world like Breath of the Wild, it would be amazing.
You know what? I would love that.
Yes.
I think
no game. I don't know if there's any game that's really delivered on an open world concept like that.
No, and if they were to, if they were able to say, you can like equip weapons and grow skills like Safe said, but give it like the Breath of the Wild like ability to go in dungeons and explore the world where however you want and you're choosing, and make it feel like a Final Fantasy game with towns and shit, like that would be a fucking dope game. That would be up my fucking alley. I streamed the shit out of that game.
Listen, you'd have to, because you literally have no time for anything else.
It's true. I mean, it's the same with like Octopath. Like, all right, for like, here's one thing. Like, I know a lot of people are like Final Fantasy. They haven't given up. I would say like, if you want like a classic Final Fantasy type feel, maybe Octopath Traveler is what Square Enix is putting out to quell that like old school type Final Fantasy feeling. Especially given like the classes and everything like that. But if you've not looked up Octopath Traveler and like what that game is kind of going to be about, it looks fucking crazy. Like I'm actually really like, I'm like, that may be like a day one purchase for my, like, I already have a Switch. That's gonna be like a day one purchase game though. Cause like, I like the idea that there's like 2 type of archetypes. Like there's like you have a good class, like a knight, and then you have like a rogue, and the rogues can use like a special ability to like kind of like coerce their way through townspeople to get certain items and quests, where the knight can do like good deeds to get certain items and quests. And like, I like that there's branching ways of doing things, and you could fuck up, and like if you're doing the rogue thing, you could screw up and then end up like paying a fine, but you could try again. So I'd be down. I disagree with Safe on 7, but that's me.
I know you do. And you know what? I think you have a really great reason to enjoy 7 and care about it as much as you do. That said, I think that has nothing to do with the quality of the game. And I think it has everything to do with the message it carries being very good for you at the time personally, and that it sucks.
I don't think it sucks. I honestly don't. I think it was a well played. I think the game played well. It's the same with Ocarina of Time. Like I don't know if you ever played Ocarina of Time, but I don't know if you'd like Ocarina of Time.
I actually did like Ocarina of Time as much as I was able to play it back in the day.
Okay. But would you say that it's overrated?
Go on with the Zelda.
I think that Ocarina of Time is mostly overrated.
All right.
I don't think it's
But I don't
overrated,
think-
but I think it's overhyped.
That, you know what? I agree with you on that.
And see,
I
that's
think
what.
it's a great game, but people talk about it like it's the be all end all, and it's not.
Yeah.
But see,
Exactly.
and I feel that's the same way with 7. I don't think it's overrated. I just think it's overhyped. I think people are like, even with the remake, people are like, give me that fucking dick. Give me that Buster Sword. Like, you're gonna, like, to be honest, real quick, E3's coming up next week. You're gonna tell me not one person's like gonna be waiting at that damn Square Enix conference and be like, you're gonna hope they talk about 7. Like some creepy dude
Oh,
sweating.
of course, but that's the whole community. The community is obsessed with the 7 remake.
Of course they are. Like almost but they're also obsessed with like Kingdom Hearts. Well, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't put the same Final Fantasy.
No, they
people
are
on it.
also obsessed with Kingdom Hearts.
But Kingdom Hearts is coming out this year. Like that is they
It
have
is.
said. So
Unlike 7, they actually have gameplay.
yeah. Oh, I'm excited. I fucking love those games. I'm now
I've never played any of them.
you would fucking love them.
I know. I want to. I need time.
They're quick. They're not as long as like a Final Fantasy. They are fairly. You can probably blast through them on a week.
All of them on a week?
Yeah, they're pretty
Like
fair.
an hour a day?
Yeah, I would say so. They're not that like they're not.
Pretty short.
They
There's
are
like 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, they're not super long. They're not super long. Well, no. Well, to be fair, the ones in between, like I know there's 4 or 5 games, but don't. I mean, save yourself the hassle and do not play the fucking like 3 the DS and stuff like. They're good.
Oh,
they
no,
can.
no. Just I'm talking about just the PS4 remakes.
Then that's just 2. I mean, but they include those card games. Like they include those mini like DS games and stuff in there. Some of them they just include the cutscenes, so you just have to watch all the story.
Yeah, they include the cutscenes. Yeah.
So I mean, makes
Maybe we'll have to revisit this.
yeah.
Maybe we can make a week out of it.
Yeah.
A month.
So, Safe, thanks for hopping on, buddy.
Yeah, no problem. It's fun, man. I love bitching about things on mic.
what
I
else
almost
are
said
we?
camera, and I was like, wait, I'm not on camera.
I love bitching about things on camera. That's what we do. It's our forte. But thanks, man. I mean, you did make some good points. I'm surprised you didn't talk about 13.
13
A little
isn't
more
important
than-
enough to me to matter.
Fair enough.
Is that controversial in itself?
For some, yeah.
Is it?
I mean,
Who fucking cares about 13?
the people that like 13. And I will tell you, like,
I defy you to find me anyone for whom 13 is their favorite Final Fantasy and they've played more than 5 Final Fantasies.
okay. To back up on that. I mean, some people started with 13, but to be fair, 13 was never supposed to be a Final Fantasy game. It got the Final Fantasy title because they were like, well, let's throw Final Fantasy in this bitch.
Wait, is that real? After
Yeah,
the
that's-
first one?
Yeah, 13 was never like the story of 13 was never supposed to be attached to a Final Fantasy game. They added that shit. Like they added like the summons and stuff like that to be Shiva and they just called it 13 after. You can look that shit up. That is fact. That's why I don't really care about 13 because initially it was never supposed to be a Final Fantasy game. It just later tagged on to be a Final Fantasy game.
See, I knew that they did that with Lightning Returns because, well, I guess they never officially confirmed that, but Lightning Returns pissed me off so bad because they had said that there was a Valkyrie Profile game coming, Valkyrie Profile 3, and that series is awesome and super rare. And then suddenly Valkyrie Profile 3 gets canceled, and not long after that, Lightning Returns comes out, and it's like, I wonder what happened there, because Lightning Returns is a game about you acting at the will of a god on a short time scale to grab the people who deserve to survive the end of the world. It's like, what was Valkyrie Profile again?
By the way, that ending is dumb as shit. Have you seen the ending for that?
I have. It's terrible.
And she's just like, I'm on a train, and then like, this is fucking pointless. Anyway, the whole game is point. Honestly, never play those. Those are fucking. That ending is pointless. Lightning Returns is pointless. I don't know. Anyway, Shin, you got any closing thoughts about? Nope. All right. Safe. You have any
Closing thoughts?
My closing thoughts are that the Crucible is great, and you should check them out at www.thecrucibleffxiv.tumblr.com, or on our Facebook page under The Crucible, or on Twitter at twitter.com/crucibleffxiv.
Yeah, you
also,
did.
we have a Patreon and a Twitch.
You did it. All right.
But don't forget to check out their SoundCloud.
Yeah, check out their SoundCloud.
Someday.
Yeah, one day. For me, any closing thoughts? There are a lot of you out there. All of you you're entitled to your opinions, and that's what makes, opinions that. Popular or not, Final Fantasy is a prolific game series. It has lasted many years, many ages. It has seen some highs and seen some lows. And everyone's going to have their favorite. Does it make what you think about a certain series wrong? No. Does it make what you think about a certain series right? No. Just play the games you enjoy in the series and have fun playing them.
Unless you hate all Final Fantasy games, in which case you're wrong.
Yeah. Get out of your comfort zone. Call of Duty noob tuber. Right now there's somebody's older brother laughing like, yeah, fucking look at his younger brother, like, nerd. Anyway, as always, be passionate about the games you play, love them, but never, harsh on anybody that also loves the series. That's what I would say. That's my advice for this episode. Never put down anybody for loving what they love.
I agree with that. All joking aside.
Yeah.
Unless what they love is Estinian, they can go fuck themselves.
There it is. With that being said, you can, if you love us, you can, and you want to play with us, you can reach us on Gilgamesh and join Umbra, Dominant Umbra to be exact. That's the FC running on Gilgamesh. We have some people that are on vacation, and I feel they're lost right now. Like, I've been logging in, I'm like, they're not here. Where are they? So I'm bummed out, but they're coming back this weekend, so I'm excited about that.
And if you love us but don't want to be near us, which is completely understandable, you can find us weekly off every Friday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. You can find our show recorded every Monday on iTunes, Google Play Music, and Stitcher. We will work on getting the iTunes feedback this weekend. Hopefully it should be up for this Monday with all of our backlog once it's back up. You can find our website at maelstromradio.com, or if you'd like to email us, there is a contact form on the website, or you can get us at show@maelstromradio.com. You can find a link to our Discord channel, both on website and on Twitter, as well as on our Twitch channel and on our Twitch pages. We will be working on getting those links updated. The website and Twitter are both up to date. Speaking of Twitter, you can find us at twitter.com/maelstrom_radio, on Facebook at facebook.com/maelstromradio, and finally on Twitch at twitch.tv/maelstromradio.
Well, now you know where to find us. And I'm going to throw this one more thing out there. Once we get iTunes back up, please, if you are on iTunes, if you just have an iPhone and you don't, even though you don't use the iPhone's app, do us a favor, go to the podcast app, go to iTunes, log in, give us a rating. That immensely helps us. In fact, once we hit 50 ratings, regardless of what the rating is, whatever you give us is your choice. Once we hit 50, we'll do a giveaway, and you could win something. I haven't decided what that something is yet. Probably something off the Mog Station. But you like free stuff, and we want to give it to you. So take it. That's what I listen, that's a proper
on that
giveaway.
note.
Yeah. So,
I'll take whatever you're offering.
there you go. I'm going to go ahead and mute on that then.
Till C swallows all.
There you yep. If it was Yoshi P for Xantotsuken. Anyway, mute him before he starts crying into the mic. I want to yet again thank my co-host Shin for hanging out with me again on every Friday. We're at episode 84, and I keep saying this every week, but we are getting inching and closer to that 100th episode. I want to thank Safe from The Crucible for hopping in and discussing his unpopular opinions with us. And go check out The Crucible. They're funny stuff, and you know, learn about whatever their last episode was, or their last article was it cucking, I think? Ah, boy. But you know what? Till sea swallows all, keep listening.
Maelstrom Radio is a production of maelstromradio.com and Blackfire Media Productions. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. Opening theme provided by Benjamin Anthony James. You can find more of their music over at soundcloud.com/Ben773. Our outro is provided by Sodo. You can find more of their music over at soundcloud.com/Sodo. Views and opinions expressed on this episode are those of Maelstrom Radio and their hosts, and do not reflect the views and opinions of Square Enix. And until sea swallows all, keep listening.